Well, not always, but sometimes. Welcome to the webinar. Welcome to another Free Friday webinar. I'm Shelly Sanchez-Terrell, and I'm here every single Friday, thanks to American TESOL. Now, we've been doing this for about 2 years, and we have over 100 webinars. So if you go to the link, the bit.elt link, then you're going to be able to download your certificate. You're going to be able to get all the slides, and you're also going to be able to see all the bookmarks for all the topics. So earlier when you were asking questions and I had all those links, it's because we've done webinars on them before. Now today we're going to talk about the flipped classroom. Hi, Peggy. And Peggy's usually pretty good about adding links as well, so you can go and click on those. This one, I kind of did a play on words, so if you haven't heard, flipping out is, it's an English idiom. It basically means that you're just in shock. But flip learning, I don't know if you've heard of this before, but basically it's very famous because of the Khan Academy. So you may have you may have been familiar with the Khan Academy and how he teaches students with videos. So the flip classroom, what it basically means is in the normal or traditional classroom setting, you lecture, you introduce the students to the lesson, and then you give them homework, okay? That's the typical one. But the flipped classroom, it flips it around. So what it means is that you actually do the activity in class, whatever kind of hands-on activity. So maybe you take them to the computer and maybe they'll explore it there. But at home, they watch a video, or I'm going to show you something a little bit different, but traditionally it's they watch a video and learn about your topic. So that's how you introduce the topic, is their homework. Now, there's a lot of different theories about this. A lot of times it's you in a lecture and you'll write on a whiteboard. That's what some teachers do, and that's what they like to do. But it doesn't always have to be that way. People argue about that. But the main point is that you're the facilitator. So what it means is that at home, let's say that the topic was animals. So they watched a video on animals. Maybe you showed them different animals on the screen. Maybe you put animal puppets or animal flashcards, and it was a video, just sort of like we're learning here. And then when they got to class, then you would have them do an activity with that. Maybe they make a comic with animals, or maybe they make a poster with animals, but they do it in the classroom. You walk around and you help them. You want to make sure that they learned this at home. Now, the way that this started was two teachers in Colorado. What they did, their names were Jonathan Bergman and Aaron Sams, and they were at Woodland Park High School. And they found where you could have your PowerPoint, your slides, and then you could record your voice. So what they started to do is they started to put that online. And then they told their students, they said, I don't want you to hear me lecture here. What I would rather you do is I want you to go and I want you to listen at home. And then when you come to class, then we'll go ahead and we'll do an activity, or we'll do something with what we found out. And they found that their students absolutely loved this. This became so popular that it became a new type of way to teach. It became an instructional practice. So traditionally, these are video recordings, and it looks sort of like this. You would take your computer home, and then you go on an internet site, and then you could see a lecture just very much like this. And online learning, okay, so to do this as a teacher, then something that's going to be very important is where are you going to put the videos? And this is something that I've done with adults. It's very useful for adults, but it's also very, very useful for young learners or kids as well. I've worked with students as young as 2 years old. Now, I've only done flipped class for partial flipped class, and I'll tell you about that. For 4-year-olds all the way to 80-year-olds, to adults. And I've taught teenagers, I've taught all kinds of students, okay? And so, yes, that's a great question, Will. You want to know where can I place the class online? You have a few options. There's actually a lot of free options. So one option is you, very simply, you could have a playlist or a channel on YouTube. I used to send my students, I did have playlists, so these were the kind of playlists on my YouTube. I have American versus British English, idioms, I had music, learn English, so there was different types of playlists that I had for students. But this isn't all that I had. This is one option though. The great thing about having it on YouTube or hosting your videos on YouTube is they can watch this or access this on their mobile devices. And there's actually apps for both Android and for iOS where they can download them. I don't know if that's completely legal, but they do have apps that do this. So that's one of the good options that you have, is to create a YouTube. Now, this usually works more for adults. And there are webinars that we've already done. Last week, we did it on YouTube. So you can access that if you go to the bit.ly site that I'll show you after. But where I would host this, because it's something much, much safer for your students, and you can do so much more. So when I started flipping, I started doing this years ago, before this became a very cool phenomenon. And probably some of you have done this if you are, you like to teach online. So I did this with a wiki because that was the option at the time. Now there's other stuff that Peggy's telling you about that we'll get to. But this, I like this kind of option. So this is my view to dosenglish.wikispaces.com. You can see how I flipped the classroom. I had videos, I had screen tutorials where I would go and tell them, this is the site I want you to go to. And then I would do a screen tutorial to let them know how to use that particular site. And then in the bottom, I would have different quizzes and exercise. And that's what I would do with my learners. You can flip with kids as well. So the important part about it is, if you're going to do that, then you have to have a parent letter, an acceptable use policy. You have to let parents know about this. And I will give you a website where they have a letter that you can mail to parents. Now, I'll show you that later, but it's a great way to get parents involved as well. And this is what I did with my, this is another wiki that I had for my students in Germany, and they were 4 to 10 years old. It was the EnglishStorytime.pbworks.com, and I sent a letter to the parents, and then I made a screen tutorial. Now, the great thing about PBWorks that I really, really love for language learners, and why I think it's a really good option to use PBWorks wiki to flip, this is one of the best reasons to use it for language learners, because they have a translation button. And this, the parents can use to translate all of the website in any language. You can do it in Chinese, in Japanese. They can do it. They just click this button, and it has where they can choose the language. So for me, that was the best option because of that. I think it's very great for language learners, especially when you know that their parents don't know English very well. Now, it's not a perfect translation, but they can get the gist of it. They can understand it. I tried it in Germany, in German, to test it out, because I know German. and I thought it was pretty good. I could follow it. So this is what it looked like. I had a screen tutorial to actually tell the parents, this is where to go and this is where to go. So I had this to navigate so that way they would understand what to do. I also sent them a physical letter as well. There's the translation button. This is what it looks like. And then I had different links. I repeated a lot of links, but it had basically all the themes and things like that. So this, and so the students could go over the different themes as well. Now, Peggy was talking about Edmodo. Edmodo is a great free option. At the time when I started flipping, they didn't have Edmodo, so I used the wiki. I don't know what wiki does for translation, so that's the only thing I would be a little weary about. I just started using this, so I'm not sure what the translation is. But it's a great way to be with learners. It has a lot of different apps. It's a great way to host videos. It's a lot like Facebook and Twitter, so your students will really enjoy it. It's very safe. It's very, very safe. Hi, Ariat. So there's so many different things that you can do with Edmodo. It has a calendar. You can grade from there. It's a whole entire classroom, so it's really great for that. If you want to find out where to start with Edmodo and some ideas to use with language learners, you want to go visit livefeast.me. Now, this is from a teacher in Brazil. She's also a teacher trainer, and I've got to meet her. She's fantastic. This is Ana Maria Menezes, and Ana Maria uses Edmodo, and she's so great at it. She has lots of tutorials, but these were, she even has if you go to her site right now, you'll see a wonderful blog post she came out with today, which were her most successful flips. So she gives you great examples to use with your English language learners in Edmodo. So it's really fantastic. So now that teachers are used to flipping, because they've been doing this since 2007, there are different things that have come out. Every teacher does things differently. So it depends on what technologies you have. And one of the most important things to think about when you're considering doing this is what kind of technologies do your students have available at home? That's very important. Do they have internet access at home? And what I do is I send a student survey. It asks, so what kind of, what do you have access to? Do you only have access to the internet on your cell phone? Because they might have it on the cell phone. Do you have it on the computer? Do you have a laptop? If not, because that's going to determine what you flip with. If you only can access something like an app, for example, then you're not going to want to do that if your students don't have the ability to see it on their phone. Another thing teachers say or recommend is that now teachers are saying you should only give an activity for homework that's 7 minutes. So if you're going to do a lecture, then it should only be 7 minutes long. And that includes the time that you would take to ask them questions as well. So this is the new kind of model. When I was flipping, this wasn't the model that I followed. But my activities were multimedia. It wasn't me giving a lecture. I actually gave them other different types of things. You don't have to only flip with videos. And that's one of the things that I would do. Sometimes I would give them a video if I wanted them to learn a finger play, if I wanted them to learn a chant, so I would give them the Wiggles to watch, because my students love the Wiggles, so they'll watch that 100 times, and they don't even think that's homework at all. But there's the activity that you decide to introduce the topic. So let's say you want to teach about spiders, or math, or anything else, volcanoes. It doesn't matter. When you're introducing the topic at home, these are the kind of things you have to think about, because they're not going to have you around. So you want to use, for language learners, visuals and multimedia. I like to use things that have text as well. I use a lot of things from Learn English Kids, Learn English Teens, Learn English Adults. They have fantastic tools made for language learners. You want something that's going to be fun, something that's going to engage them. You don't want to have them with a person that's going to talk for a long time and be very, very boring, because they're not going to enjoy that at all. They're going to be very upset that you made them do this at home, and they're probably not going to do it again. And you want to pique their interest. You want to get them curious and very engaged, so when they come to class, they'll be very excited to learn with you and to do the activity. If you get them something where they're not, where they're kind of bored and things like that, then they're not going to be engaged, and you're going to have a very tough time doing the activity in the class. Peggy put another important point, which is chunking it. So that's why the 7 minutes is very important. You want to make sure for language learners, you do want to chunk it. Chunk it means like piece by piece, you're introducing the topic. And these are some of the things you want to think about. I like infographics for this. I love doing this with infographics because it's kind of like you can make a mind map and it can have links and all these kind of cool things. So these are my young learners. They're watching their Wiggles video. Now, they had already watched this at home. They're supposed to. And then we review it again. Now, that's something that I would do with my classes. Because I only showed short things. And so we would kind of review sometimes, because for me, I needed to know that my students understood. And so reviewing, I think, is very important. There are certain things you can do. You can flip games. I flip games a lot. And I give them a choice. I don't just let them can choose what to use. Multimedia slideshows. What do I mean by this? Well, there's so many different tools you can use. You can use interactive posters. You can use Glogsters. You can use Wordles. I mean, there's so many things that you can use. You can use PhotoPeach. PhotoPeach is one of the best things to flip with. It gives you an option to ask questions. It's a multimedia slideshow. You can even use popular music with PhotoPeach. So PhotoPeach is absolutely fantastic. You can do it with podcasts. You can have them learn a podcast. I shared a tool last week, Bubbler. You can flip with Bubbler. Bubbler is where you have a YouTube video and you can add questions to it. So it's interactive and it's multimedia. Infographics, which I absolutely love. Mind maps, there's Poplet, there's Mind42. There's so many online tools that you can flip with. Virtual trips, so you can actually have them go to a site and they can go and visit a country. You can do things with Google Literacy or Google Earth, and they can go to the country and they're in a virtual world. There's even virtual worlds for children that are very safe as well. So this is one way that I engaged my students. If you look at the English wiki for my adult students, then you'll see every week I had these Vokies. This is Shelly and Steve, and they have a conversation. It's a Voki conversation. So you click on them, and then they say things. Actually, it's me saying something. And they will sometimes use a phrase that we're going to use in class, or they'll talk about the topic, and they go back, they answer each other, and that's how I got them to be interested. And one of the most important parts is you don't have to do all this. Some teachers believe that you have to make all the videos. I don't. I'm a teacher that likes to have my students create the video. You can even use these videos with other students. And why is this good? Well, you might say with language learners, well, I don't want them to see because the mistake. No, it's very good. One of the reasons it's good because they can notice those mistakes and you can have them pinpoint it, and then you can assess. You can say, oh, well, you can, if they pinpoint the mistake, that's really good. Then they're showing you that they understand that grammar point. But the other part that's very important is kids are shy. They're very shy to speak English, and they're very shy to come on video, and they're very shy to create content and have it published online. So if you're going to do this, then it's good to show them that other kids that you have taught have done this as well. Now, remember, when you're flipping, you have to get the parent permission. It's very important. Now, when my students flip, we use Voicethread, sometimes another activity, and you can find all of these, and I'll show you the link, and you can find all of these things. But my students, they had cartoons, so they didn't show their faces because the parents didn't want them to show their faces. And they used only their voices and their drawings. So they were very safe and protected. There's very useful apps and tools. So if you do have access to a mobile device, I'll show you some cool tools. But one of the places that you can find more resources, you'll find so many great people to follow and teachers that are doing great things with their students. If you go to FlipChat on Twitter, you do not have to have a Twitter account. You can actually just go to the Twitter website and you can search for the hashtag FlipChat. You can even go to Google and put this in Google, FlipChat, and you're going to see the tweet. And it's great because they give you so many different links, and it also gives you lots of real examples and different tools that you can try. You can go to Flip Class as well, and it'll help you. It'll give you the different tools. One of the best teachers that I've seen, who is a bilingual teacher, he teaches Spanish and he also teaches English, is Todd Nesloney. Todd Nesloney. So if you go to ToddNesloney.com and you click on the tab that says Flip, then you are going to get a Flip Class parent letter. You'll get it also in Spanish. So if you teach Spanish learners, that could be very helpful for the parents who might only speak Spanish. Or it gives you ideas how to make your letter. You also have some things. So he has an interactive notebook. He has iTunes, because these are the things he uses, and Instagram. He also has his students, which are telling you, his 5th grade students, they're about 12, and they talk about how they felt about the flipped classroom. So he's definitely someone you want to look at. And a really good resource is Teachdotcom. You have to search for flipping, but he has the ultimate guide to flipping your classroom. He has more than one part. This is just the first part. He gives you videos, he gives you infographics, he gives you tons and tons, maybe 100 tools on how to flip your classroom. These are some tools that I think are very good for flipping a classroom that you can use if you don't want to use a wiki or a website or anything like that. One of the things you might want to use is educlipper.net. And these are more like curation tools, but they're very good for flipping in a way. You can actually have a whole site. If you're just going to do videos, I actually think Pinterest is pretty good, because Pinterest, you can clip a whole bunch of videos in a board. They can go to that board, they can be updated, and they can watch the video from Pinterest. So if you like Pinterest and you're going to do things like videos, then it's actually not a bad way to flip. But there's educlipper.net. It's a lot like Pinterest, but it's the education version. So this is going to make sure you don't have questionable material. This is for educators. The great thing about this one is it lets you pin videos. You can add links, so you can go to websites. You can add images. You can actually upload PDFs. You can upload worksheets, things like that. You can just a board game or something. You can upload documents. You can also create portfolios. And the other cool thing about it is each tab has something called Cite Your Source. And what is the citation? The citation is very important because it's helping your students be digital citizens because they cite their sources. And it gives you the option to do it in MLA or APA and other options as well. This is kind of what an EduClipper account looks like. You have whatever you clip. So I clipped this. I really like this quote. And so you can see you can have pictures as well. And then you can see it in the nice board. People can comment, they can say, and people can like it. So your students can go and they can actually comment and they can say they like it. And then you can see which your students like. The great thing is it gives you analytics. It tells you how many people visit and things like that. So you can see if your students actually visited. When you're using portfolios, this is a very new thing. Now, all these tools are free. They're absolutely free. So you can come and you can go on there and you can go ahead and you can visit the website. There's an option called portfolio. It's very new. You can choose any of these options. You can choose different backgrounds. And then you can have videos. This is a video. You can have a blog post, or this could lead to an exercise or something, or a quiz, or it could lead to an interactive story. It could lead to where they do a Voki. You can even tell them it could lead, you can have the instructions here, and then you can include the Voki right here, so that way they have everything in one. Here you can do you telling them the instructions, or you can do a video tutorial. You can just add any video tutorial as well. I agree, Peggy. There's so much great stuff out there that's free. Another really good option that I actually really like now is Blendspace.com. Now, Blendspace will allow you to collect web resources. Here, you have the video. So this is one person flipping a math. They have the link, and then it also has built-in quizzes. So I think that Blendspace is a very good option as well. There are, if you do have an iPad, there's such great tools on the iPad. I love it. I think it's one of the best tools you can flip with because you can create these awesome videos. This is Touchcast, which is a free, incredible app. What you can do is you can link to other videos. You can have a video within a video. You can show examples. You can have links that actually go to websites within your video, and you're talking and you're speaking. You can point here and you can have something magically appear, and you can point there and it will magically appear. It's so incredible. You really have to check it out. It has a built-in teleprompter. It has a green screen. It has clickable videos as well. SQ Quick. If you want something really fast, it only gives you 7 slides, but you can draw. So you can, it's easy for your students to use too. One of the lessons I did with my students is they had to do a drawing, why did the chicken cross the road? So they had to draw this, why the chicken crossed the road. So this is one of the things that you could do. You can upload photos. You can write on it, you can record audio, and it makes a video that'll go to YouTube as well. Ubersense allows you to do, you can do slow motion, you can do frame by frame, you can compare videos, you can add audio commentary, you can draw on it and add shapes and everything like that, and you get a free site to host all these videos. One of the favorite tools that lots of teachers like and use, and I love, and students love to use it as well, is EduCreations. On EduCreations, you can draw, you can color, you can add a document, you can add a photo, all kinds of things. You record a 9-minute video, which you can edit, and you can, your students, this is what your EduCreations classroom looks like. You can have different classes. You can have your course name, your school. You can create different courses. Oh, sorry. One of the one of the great things about it is that when you have the individual classes, when your students finish this video, it automatically goes there, and you can see it on the page. It's very easy to click on them, and you have the student name. Kind of like a virtual classroom. Too much. I'm planning an online conference. I'll give you information about that. It's free at the end, but I haven't been sleeping much. Show Me is another type of these apps, and so is Screenshot. But I like Educreations. They're all kind of the same thing. So there's Explain Everything. There's so many different tools out there, but Educreations is my favorite. There's a great app called Together Learn, and all your students can go on a webcam and they can watch a video and they can draw on it and they can chat and they can talk about it, and this is all for free. This is on Together Learn, the iPad. They can do documents as well. So there are problems with, okay, so when I did flipping the class, one of the things is I didn't flip all the time. With everything that you learn, there's a lot of resources here. I know it might be a lot. That's why we record them, so you can go back and then you can have all the resources as well and you can check it out. But the idea is, from anything, whenever you see training or you see people, then one of the things you want to do is you want to take one or two or even three things, if you can handle that, but definitely at least one that you are excited about, that you think, I can use this in my classroom, because we all have different classrooms. Some of us have access to the internet, some of us don't. Some of us have a computer, some of us don't. Some of us have iPads, some of us have cell phones, so it depends what you have. The problems with flipping, if you only have one thing that you flip with, if you only have one video you make available, if you're recording all the videos, then you're not differentiating instruction. So some students might be interested and they may get it, but there's going to be other students, maybe that's not the way they learn. Maybe they're not really interested. So that's one of the problems you have. You also have a problem with mixed abilities. So in my English classes, I have students, some of them, even though they're at the same English level, they're at the high point of that level or at the low level. So these are things that you have to think about. How are you going to help them? What if they don't understand the English? What if they don't understand what's going on in the video? How, they're at home, and what if their parents are too busy? What if the parents work and nobody can help them with their homework? So that's something you have to think about. Multiple learning styles. Some students don't like to sit in front of, but a lot do, but I've had students that are ADHD, ADD, so it's still very important that you look at all of these factors. And so my solution was this. When I was doing this, I would give them a choice of activities. This is the book, we read, or, that we were going to read too as well. But I changed it after they've already done that. I had to change the tense because then we read it. So if they were ever going to go back to the theme, so that's why it says that. But I would say we will read the book. You can do anything. So I would give them the book so they would know, and the parents would know in case they want to check it out in the library or something. This is, you can either listen to the superhero song, you can read a story about superheroes, you can make your own superhero, I even had activities that the parents could play at home to introduce the students to the topic. So this was, if they didn't have the computer, then I would give that. Play a pretend game with your child where you and your child each pick a toy to pretend that they're superheroes, and it says, I'm a superhero, I can. So for each activity, these are the things I would do. I would also sometimes include a video so they could see that as well. One of the resources you can use for your students, it works with adult students as well, is Wordify.com. Wordify.com, you can take any text, a very difficult text like this one, and Rewordify changes it to something your students can learn. So you just copy and paste it, click Rewordify the text, and it gives you simple language for your learners. On top of that, it gives you over 300 activities you can do with the vocabulary. It grabs vocabulary out. You can have gap tools. You can have you can have gap fills. You can have crosswords. You can have different online games that you use with all of this. So it's quite good for your language learners. You can find all of this bookmarks if you go to the Pearl Tree, which is basically if you click on any of those circles, they will pop up in a box and you'll be able to see that resource. There's tons and tons that I've bookmarked there because there's so much information on the Flip class. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap up because we're already about that time. And you can go to the bit.ly address, and there you can download your certificate that you attended this presentation, and you'll get a certificate from American TESOL. You'll also get access to all the links, and then you'll be able to see all the recordings of the past 100 free webinars we have done. Next week, we're going to do brainstorming on your cell phone. Some with apps, some without. So we'll do different things because I know not everyone has different internet access. They have different settings. So thank you very much. And we will see you next week. Well, not Roscoe because I'm traveling to Houston. So I actually won't be where I am now. I think I might even be at the airport. So going for my BAMI, so I'm very excited about that. Oh, is that one for sock puppets? Oh no. Okay, I'll put the next Pearl Tree. Sorry about that. Thank you all so much.